Yes. Kyla, sinong wala? Kyla, tayo! Nasa Tonichi is not here with us, but he is here in spirit. Anna is not here because she's not free to go out of her workplace. And Jess is over there. Where are they done? Okay. So, this is the view from the top of Ile Karst Formation. So, just a warning for those people who do not want to see human remains, picture of human remains. There will be pictures here, but I will warn you first to close your eyes, and then I will tell you when you can open them again. Okay? So, our field school was sponsored or taken up by the Palawan Island Paleo History Research Project. It used to be changing between paleohistoric and paleohistory, but they finally agreed to call it paleohistory. So I included here the pictures of the people who work there because I think it's an important part of the project. It's the most important part of the project, the people. So the PIPRP has been going on even before the Ile site was excavated by Cervic. So they first started in southern Palawan in Bataraza, Quezon. But Solheim gave out a call for sustained archaeological digs at the El Nido site. So PIPRP took up the challenge and they went there to dig since 2004. Okay? Okay, so this is some maps of Palawan and the Philippines. Uh, El Nido is in the northern part of Palawan. Um, and the famous El Nido town, the tourist town, is actually on the other side of the island from the Dewil Valley. So here is a aerial photo of the Dewil Valley. You could see there at the right side of the screen, the most of the sites of the PIPRP, including Sibaltan and Imorige Island, I should highlight. So in the past, you could see here from the map, Guthe and Fox went here, but they mostly worked in the western side of the island, around El Nido and the Bay, Bakwit Bay. And the first people who started to work in Ile was Solheim and the National Museum staff. They actually discovered Ile in about 1998, and they started digging there in 1998, the National Museum, before they gave the site to the PIPRP in 2004. So a better picture of the Jewel Valley to give you a grasp of the landscape. So Ile on the right side is sort of at the most closest to the coast, the site that is closest to the coast. But then Pasimbahan is sort of at the other end of the Jewel Valley. And then Idolot, which is a new site, is in the middle. They are all karst formations and connected to caves. So the orange line there, broken line, that's what we walk every day to go to the Idolot site from our base camp at Ile. And then the Pasimbahan crew, headed by Dea Cosalan, have to ride uh, tricycles to go to the Pasimbahan site because it's very far away. It's a 20-minute walk to Idolot and about 20-minute ride to Pasimbahan as well. So let's start with the first site of the PIPRP, Ili Cave and Rockshelter, because people always forget the Rockshelter part. So I am highlighting that. So at Ile, there are three sub-sites, three trenches, areas, whatever you may call them. So Taloto, at the farthest end there, I had to put an arrow because you cannot actually see it from the picture, but it's sloping down. It's down there, trust me. Westmouth is the part with the bamboo fence. And then Eastmouth, where the green sack is. And then Balete is the freshly backfilled square at the foreground. So let's start with the Westmount West Extension. So when we say Westmount, we think of pits because it's everything that you could see in there. So that's a quote from Jezel Lorraine Wee. WMWE is equal to pit party. So you could already see Kuya Jojo dancing there. He's only removing the backfill, but he's already dancing because it's a pit party over there. So, and then the most amusing thing about Westmount West Extension is it also has an extension, which we call the Westmount West Extension extension. And as you can see in the plan here that I included, drawn by Giselle or her sister, there's a lot of pits. One is even heart shaped, which is nice. So there's a lot of bits at the Westmount. It occupies the better part of the season to try to excavate each pit with care, and then after excavating the pit, trying to see if anything cuts into it or whatever the new layer is underneath. Because sometimes when you dig a pit, what do you find? Another pit. And yeah. It's very interesting in Westmount, and it's very hard to excavate there because you have to look for you have to be careful with the pits. So while Giselle, just a highlight, while she was cleaning the wall, the north wall, yeah, just at the end of the season, she found this beautiful rim shirt, and I just wanted to show that because I like that shirt. Okay, let's move on to Balete. At Balete, it's really tough going still. The sediment there is almost as hard as rock. If you have a very expensive travel, it will be eaten up very fast. I lost 2 millimeters in my travel digging at Ile. That's just in 1 month. So you could see here there's a lot of shells and scattered animal bones. Not much big things, surprising, fiery things happening at Balete this season. But they did find some interesting shards. The shards at the right, the two overlapping each other, that was actually found standing up, embedded in the soil, in the sediment. And Tonichi and his fellow excavators also found some interesting decorated shards and a reddish black glass bead. So, so this is, and then we move on to Taloto, uh, where all of the action happened this season. Um, This is a map of the Taloto. It was first excavated last year by the field schoolers because last year the first batch of field schoolers ever was admitted into the PIPRP. So the directors placed the field schoolers at the Taloto Trench, formerly called Ihian Trench, which was euphemized to Taloto for the tourists, not to be, and then, so this is the map of Taloto. So at Taloto, everything is very shallow at the moment because it's only the second season it was excavated. But I have to note that Taloto A has been excavated for a longer amount of time, and it's very deep. It's more than a person tall, if that's a standardized unit. And I don't know if this is if this is the seed of a taloto or not. That's the running mystery for all of us at the field school because some people say it's not a taloto, some people say it's a taloto. So maybe only Mon's father could answer that question. So okay, so I have to warn people who do not want to see human remains, look away now, or it's not my fault. So, at Taloto Trench B, what a beautiful extended burial. So, if you're going to take pictures, as Quincy tells the tourists who come over, please don't share it on social media it's just for your personal consumption because we're safeguarding the decency of the human remains. So they found a human burial just less than a foot deep at the Talota B trench, and part of the burial extended into the other grid squares beyond the borders of Talota B. So instead of cutting tunnels into those parts of the Taloto site, they opted to just collect what was exposed and what was accessible and leave the rest of the burial for the following seasons. So yeah, we So, for those people who are new to archaeology, bones are usually placed in aluminum foil because aluminum foil holds its shape while being transported. So no people are acid-free paper. Okay. So yeah. So maybe wrap it in safe more gentle material before putting it in direct contact with aluminum foil. But aluminum foil helps in holding the shape and supporting the bone so that it doesn't break while you're transporting it. And then hello Lenny. And then there's a picture of the heroic women who excavated the burial. I have to note that Ming is not there because I have no picture of her digging, but she did a lot of work with this burial as well. So, and then the other action at Taloto trenches, Taloto Sea, Mons baby right here, the possible cremation burial. Um, you could see there it's very consolidated, so it's hard not to mistake. Uh, you would really spot it if you're there. So that was completely excavated and recovered. Mon did his 207 on that, and let's see what else will come out of that. But so far, he found that much of the human bones there were actually fragments of long bones, and it looks like some have cut marks, and what he identified so far are fragments of radius, scapula, vertebra, and cranial fragments. And in this an interesting note on this cremation burial, it's also extended beyond the Talota Sea boundaries. But since it is relatively shallow, the site director Helen recommended that the trench was it would be useful if the trench was extended rather than leaving it for the next season. So, and then we move to Idulot. The second sub-site, no, the second site of the PIPRP. This is a new site. It was opened this season only because we found, or the owner of the site, Lenny De Llosa, found a stone adze. And it's a greenish gray stone, and it was found in her backyard in the field while she was sweeping and cleaning dried leaves. So and it was Lenny De Llosa contacted PIPRP at the Jane over there and showed her the artifact, and that prompted the 1,000 ships to set sail to Idolot, and we started what we call the Manok Trench. So we called it Manok Trench because there's a lot of chickens there. And it's a 10 by 10 meter trench because our goal at Idulot open site was to find evidence of habitation. Habitation, yes. Not settlement, that's a bonus, but habitation, that's easier to prove. So we tried to find post holes. That's why it's 10 by 10 meters. And what's hard with this sediment is it's also rock hard like palete. So imagine digging 10 by 10 meters in that kind of compact sediment. Uh, we lost a lot of skin on our hands there trying to dig. Even if we had gloves, we developed blisters. But fortunately, we had the help of local team members, the Deliosa couple, Romeo and Ate Lenny. They were very kind and hardworking, and they did a lot to help us accomplish whatever we accomplished there. And so, at Idolot Manok Trench, we found what looked like a post hole because it had charcoal remains and it was circular. And um, there were rocks around the hole. So it was surmised that maybe it was a post hole. So that's what prompted the expansion of the trench into what it finally came out to be 10 by 10 meters. But we unfortunately we didn't find any new another possible post hole. But we did find a lot of other things because there at the second context and third context, there's a boundary that's very rich in artifacts. It's very interesting because everything we found, almost everything, is in that boundary between context 2 and context 3. Sherds, like here, charcoal, and most interesting, a bead. And it was analyzed by Kyla for her 207, and her findings is that it might be a Muscovite bead. So that made us very excited because it might push the known age of the site, of the open site, back more farther into the past. So it's a good uh, um, evidence for supporting the notion that there might have been a habitation outside the Idolot cave that was connected to the cave. And then just to find more context at Idolot Manok Trench, we dug deep pits at the northeast and the southwest corners. We dug as deep as 1 mina deep. That's Mina, my field schooler friend in absentia today. So we dug very deep, but it we only found another layer at the northeast corner. It seems like the context, the layers dips down towards the west, and that's why we didn't uh find a new layer at the southwest corner. So, Pasimbahan Magsanib, the third site at the uh, Palawan Field School. I put there the site code and the last number there, Q1, in red because in the past it was only called Q, and now I think with some modifications in the system of the National Museum, the one was added. So it's Q1 now. So at Pasimbahan, there's a very deep trench there, uh, trench B, and the goal here was that's trench B. The goal here, the biggest goal here was to reach a cremation burial. Oh, wait, sorry. The problem with trench B is that there's an east extension and it's full of pits as well, like the west mouth. But the bigger problem is there's a cremation burial that is visible on the wall, but you cannot access it because it's in the wall. So Ate Dea and her friends had to dig from the top, going down. The whole season they tried to excavate down until they reached the cremation burial, but it was already the last week and they didn't have enough time to excavate the burial itself. So it was left there for the next season. to finally excavate the cremation burial that is underneath at Ridakna Shell. So a reason to go back. There it is. They collected what could be collected, but they didn't try to excavate the whole thing. Not yet, because there's not enough time. And then, I'm highlighting this map again, just because, just to show you. Uh, Actually, I forget now why I included this here. But yeah. Yeah, I remember. The problem with this project is that there's two sites that are very far away. So how do you do rounds when two sites are inaccessible to the rest of the team? So and they, I think, had the idea of slides, but being a very hardworking person, they did more. They did more than slides. And this is what they did. Round of applause. I'm done hating myself for feeling. I'm done crying myself away. I gotta leave and start the healing. The way you move like that, I just wanna stay. Oh, looking for to break, baby. How do you see when you lie to me? I'm saying all tonight, baby. When you lie to me, I'm saying all the chance I'm hoping I'll be you tonight. Ah. Okay. But that's not yet the end. That's just an intermission number. Ah, do you want another go? Okay. So I have to highlight that we also did some heritage work at the Palawan Field School. So we did a book drive and with the help of the Solheim Library, and we hosted a visit from from the Palawan State University. Some students and professors of the Palawan Studies program. So that will help with the sustainability of heritage work at the Palawan Island. And we also updated the posters that will be seen by tourists who will go there. And I think this is an often overlooked thing, but our Sunday visits to different sites were also heritage work, I think. It's heritage work for our education, for our um, familiarity to the sites and the projects that are done in the Palawan um, uh, PIPRP. So every Sunday we go to different sites like Sibaltan and Imorige, and we are given some lectures and introductions by our field directors about what is done around there and what important things are found there as well. So mm, so I have to um highlight the work of our local partners there, Kuya Jojo and Kuya Dindin, because without them, the project will not work. So everything, almost everything, comes through them, and everything is made possible by their continued cooperation with our field directors. And I have to thank our core team for taking care of us so well and guiding us and teaching us a lot of things. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, John. So now we will now go to the Q&A portion. Questions from our audience. Hey, Gabby.
Hi, John. So great presentation. I have a question regarding the pit party. What do you normally find inside the pits? Like, is there something or is it just sediment?
Alisa is the best person to answer that. Her 207 is a very well
Yeah.
reviewed
Okay.
207.
Yes. Okay. So the Westmouth pits, most of them, again, like they're all like into each other, right? The pits, they all have like loads of animal bones in them. They're usually lined by stone, which helps, you can tell the border. But the thing that was cool was that we sort of noticed that every pit sort of had a somewhat consistent assortment of bones. Like there would be lots of pig, lots of deer, usually one bird bone, lots of fish, lots of snake, lots of monitor lizard, turtle, like oh my god, like everything. And yeah, that's like found in every pit. And even like the ones that were together or the ones that were far apart, same thing. You find the same thing over and over and over again in that area. So we don't know why.
Ritual.
We were thinking it might be connected to ritual stuff, might be connected to burial practices.
Is it burnt?
Some of them are. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know, right?
You.
Yeah, I hate this story. Okay, any more questions? Okay.
Okay, John, thank you for your presentation and for the fun in general. Is this working? Yeah, okay. So, questions, let me see. Idulot, like new site. So if it's a new site, how is that I have photographs from Dugong from Idulot? There's another site. It's a cave also, aside from this one?
It's a cave, but we opened a new trench at the open site. And
Is it close to the cave? Is it?
it's less than 100 meters from the cave mouth.
It's far.
So, and
Uh,
the cave itself is very well visited by archaeologists. So Fox has been there. And they also did some recording of treasure hunters pits there, and they found some things from there. Maybe that's what you saw. But the Manok Trench at the open site is just open right but this season.
But the current project of Helen and Victor is not have not worked in Udulot Cave.
I think we're there just to follow up on the treasure hunters pits, just to record the stratigraphy that's been already exposed and to recover some interesting artifacts and use more. And then that's just about what they did there.
Okay.
I don't think they did some test pits there.
Yeah. Well, I just received these pictures of Dugong from Idulot, and I was wondering what Idulot exactly. Idulot Cave. Yeah, I guess. So, my next question is about those human remains with cut marks. Yeah. So, how these cut marks look like? Are they like are they scratches? Are they really cut marks made by cutting objects, or what is it?
Their hypothesis right now
Huh.
is that the cremation practice there was that they would dismember the body and then burn it. That's how they
Okay,
ended up
okay.
with the cremation burial. So maybe
Okay.
that's why there were cuts.
Dismemberment cut marks. Okay. Salamat. That's okay for now.
Okay, thank you, Juan, for those questions. Any more questions from our audience or suggestions, comments? From this side, do we have any comments? Anyone? None? Wala na. Okay. I guess. Okay, there's a follow-up.
Sorry, I wasn't counting. How many trenches did you have in total?
Hello?
Like in total, like all.
Holy shit.
9?
At least 10.
At least 10. Okay.
And there's
Yeah, kasimbahan pa.
and there's only like 6 of
And
you.
there's a lot of extension.
And there's lots of volunteers.
I guess I have another question.
Yes, please.
So, yeah, so now trying to relate with the other field school presented last week, right? They at some point they shared there was this emotional moments that they said, okay, so I some of us had these difficulties at some point because field work could be hard. So not only for you, but for the rest of field schoolers in Ile, did you also had your moments or field school was perfect and amazing all the time?
Think the the best part of this field school was the people I was with, because I think in any field work, the most tiring part is if you don't like your coworkers, your colleagues. So if you like your colleagues, there's no field work that is long enough. That's too long. And then if you don't like your colleagues, there is no field work that is too short. I think that's how it is. And there are moments that it's very hard because you think you don't have anyone to help you. But I think the maturity of the people I was with made up for any immaturity in me. Yeah. What about others? Ah,
Oh, sorry, no.
others. Field schoolers, do you hate me or not?
Well, actually, I was lucky to be part of the Palawan Field School because we were exposed to different kinds of, well, trenches, which each trench has its own like unique characteristic or I mean, context. So, apart from that, we were exposed to different kinds of material. So we studied where we had covered animal bones, and then we're sure each and every. So in that sense, we're now.
Kyla, why don't you talk to me anymore?
Um, Similarly to what John was saying, it's really about who the people you're working with, especially when everyone's like supporting specific ideas or when you're kind of confused on what you're digging, what kind of context it is. You're just gonna call upon someone beside you. And, what do you think? What is this? Is this a bone or is this a stone? And people would give their own opinions. And I think working together really pushed us to be able to finish that 1 month. And additionally for me, I think having so much to do at Ile kind of like pushed back some emotions. So what's my mind was thinking like, oh, it's another day, so I gotta write context, and you sleep, and then another day, gotta dig. So I don't know if I had like emotional roller coasters back then, but it's more of like trying to get through and be able to find more evidences of um material remains. So yeah, it was a fun season, especially the people and the community. They're very supportive. So yeah.
Thank you. Sentimental music si Kyla habang ano. Anyway. Ermin, you had a question?
Um, Thank you very much for your presentation. I wanted to ask, what do you think that this field season brought in terms of new knowledge and understanding of the archaeology of the Dewil Valley compared to what we knew already?
So I think the Idolot open site is very interesting in connection to that question, because we're trying to find what we're trying to discover things about habitation now, not just burial practices, and that because that's what's mostly found in Ile, right? So having a new angle at habitation, that's quite interesting at Idolot. And then there's also the new cremation burial that's been just reached at Pasimban. That's very interesting to compare to Ile, because there's cremation burials at Ile as well. So you could connect the two sites, or not, compared to depending on what is found in analysis with those burials. So I think that's pretty much whatever I could sum up in my mind.
Okay, so any questions? None. Okay, so thank you very much for attending this Binalot Talks. Do we have any announcement from our faculty admin people? Okay, none. I think we have Wellness Wednesday today.
I think we have, I don't know, is it yoga? Yoga? Okay, yoga. I don't know where it will be held, but just ask. Yeah, for those who signed up, for those who signed up, because it's limited slots only, just ask the admin where it will be held later. So thank you very much. And next week, we have another Binalot Talks. Yeah, so we'll just release the publicity, the PubMat for that. So again, thank you very much for attending the Binalot Talks.